much for joining us this afternoon. We're joined today by Vancouver Canucks Assistant General Manager, Émilie Castonguay. Émilie, first of all, welcome and thanks so much for taking the time today.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for being here.
We're going to start with questions from our local media here first in Vancouver before we transition to questions from the national media. So without further ado, we'll start with one from Jay Janauer, Global BC.
Émilie, congratulations on what's a historic day for Vancouver Canucks fans.
Thank you.
Do you want this to be a big day for women in sport, for young girls in our country? And do you also just want to be an assistant general manager?
That's a loaded question. I mean, obviously it is a big day, whether I would want it or not. I think it's a historic day. And it goes to show that women have a place in sports and in hockey. Obviously I'm starting with the assistant general manager and we'll see where that takes me. I've always had high aspirations in my career and in life in general. So we'll see where that takes me, but I'll start with this for now.
How much did your internship with the Montreal Canadiens mean to you, and how much did that help mold perhaps the role that you're going to fit into now?
I mean, I was mentored by Pierre Gauthier, who was the general manager back in the day with the Canadiens. Wouldn't call it so much an internship as much as a mentorship by his part, but he taught me a lot, and he obviously, I'm sure it's a big day for him too to see me here, get this position. So I'm very thankful to him for everything that he's ever taught me and believed in me, obviously, all those years. So, I think it's definitely helped me get here today, and it's going to help me in my job for sure.
We'll move along to Ian McIntyre, Sportsnet.
Hi, Émilie. I imagine you have had other offers or at least other interest from other teams. Why Vancouver, and why this position is right for you now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, from the first conversation I've had with Jim Rutherford, I just felt like I believed in his vision. I believed in what, the Aquilini family and management wanted to do. They wanted to build a team that was diverse, that had different opinions, and that could bring different things to the table. I was really, impressed by everything that they wanted to do, and obviously bought into it. And, Vancouver for me is just, personally, I have a very strong relationship with the city of Vancouver for different reasons, which I won't get into right now. But personally, it's just always been a place where I wanted to be and where I wanted to live. I actually have a small snippet here. I have a vision board at home that I've had for over 5-6 years, and on it I had written a certain age, and then I had written Vancouver beside it, just because I wanted to be in Vancouver at that point in my life, and I didn't know how I was going to get there or how it was going to happen, but I turned that age in about a month and a half. So it's always been kind of in the back of my mind and on my vision board. And, whether it was as an agent or, as working for the NHL, I didn't know how I was going to be there, but it's pretty awesome that it worked out that way. So for me, Vancouver was a no-brainer. I feel they have, a great young team that is hungry to win. And I'm just really happy to be part of their journey now.
And as you know, the hiring in some ways is bigger than just you and bigger than just the Canucks for what it represents. How comfortable are you being that person on a pedestal that a lot of people are going to be watching to see how she does?
I don't really think about those things. I just, and I've never really thought about it through my journey, my personal journey. I grew up playing hockey with the boys, same as them. I, watched hockey, same as them. I played with the boys when I was young, and then I played with the girls when I was older. I played D1 hockey on a scholarship. I studied business when I was in the States, and then I went to get my law degree. So I never really thought about gender when I was going through my journey. I had a very non-binary approach to it, in the sense that I wanted to do something in hockey, and I wanted it to means something to me. And I never thought, hey, you know, there's only men in this industry, I can't do this. I just kind of got all the knowledge that I thought I could get to where I am today. And I just put my head down and did the work. You know, I think if you let gender get in your way, or if you let it intimidate you, that's when it will do that. And I never really let that happen to me in my journey. So I think once you look at it that way, doors open up, and if you can do the work, you're going to get the jobs. And so hopefully this is the start of just, you know, more women getting, you know, jobs in sports and in hockey particularly. But for me, I just never let gender get in the way. And that was the way that I always operated, and it's still the way that I do it.
We'll go next to Ben Kuzma, Post Media.
Congratulations. You know, you're kind of considered a five-tool player. I mean, you were a player, you're an agent, you got degrees in finance and law, and you're with the bar. I'm just wondering, there's some vacancies here on the contract side, cap management. Do you have a particular strength?
I mean, I think it takes that type of person to do this type of job. Like I said, I think, you know, leadership at the Canucks is building a team with a lot of people like that. And I think we're all going to come together with a common goal of building a competitive team and a contending team for many years to come. You know, in any way that I can contribute to that, we'll see. But, you know, I think everything that I've done in the past, you know, brings a certain perspective and a certain knowledge. And I can't wait to do that with the Vancouver Canucks and bring what I can to the table. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I think, you know, I have a lot of experience in different backgrounds, and I think it'll only help me to be a more complete assistant general manager for now and help the team.
Aside from that vision board, which is kind of amazing, you might want to do some stock analysis. Is there anybody
I do.
There you go. Is there anybody you looked up to, women in sport, business side, or anybody who was an inspiration to you growing up?
Again, I'm going to go back to the fact that I've always had a non-binary approach to everything. So the people that I looked up to were just, you know, some of my idols in hockey. They didn't have to be women or men. They were just people that were knowledgeable and competent at what they did. You know, my favorite player growing up was Kirk Muller in the 93 playoffs. He, you know, I think he scored a goal from the face-off, and since then he was kind of my player. I wore number 11 because of him growing up and in college and all. So, I mean, in terms of like mentors, I mean, I've had plenty along the way. I can't name them all. That, you know, there's so many, but you know, they're just people that have helped me, believed in me. And just gave me a chance to be who I am and have an input and have an impact in this game. I mean, I think, you know, a lot of people underestimate the place that women do have in this sport when you have knowledge and you have the experience. You know, everyone's been so good to me from the beginning. So I think that's just going to continue.
Next up, we'll go to Thomas Drance at The Athletic.
Hey, Émilie, congratulations. You've spoken a little bit about your experience and how it informs your perspective. And we have seen around the NHL at the moment, a ton of former player agents are being hired by various front offices. I mean, obviously just in Montreal last week, Florida last year. What do you think it is about your experience as a player agent that can perhaps make you effective in the new role?
I think there's a lot of things. To answer your question, there's a lot. What comes to mind, I think, is, you know, for me, I think it's something that's super important. I've said that. I've related that to the, you know, the leadership team in Vancouver is, you know, I think player development and you know, surrounding the players with the right resources and the right people so that they become the best versions of themselves is really important. And for me to have a human impact in this organization is super important. It's something that I value, and it's something that I tend to do. I truly believe that your team is only as good as how your players feel. And it's important to have a pulse on that and to make sure that they feel good and that they're, you know, being put in positions to develop as players and as people. represent the Vancouver Canucks and to build a championship team, you need that type of consistency and that type of culture. As an agent, you see players, you start working with them at a very young age, sometimes, 14, 15 years old. And so, you witness a lot of things as they grow older and as they go up in the ranks. You go through many experiences with them, ups and downs, and you see different things. They get drafted by different teams. Some of them develop differently, but you kind of get a sense of what it takes and what you need to surround the players with for them to succeed. And I think it's something that I want to bring to the table, and it's something that I intend to do here in Vancouver.
And a variation on that theme, but among your former clients now, your now former clients, is Antoine Roussel, who obviously spent several seasons in Vancouver. Does the experience of representing a player who's spent some time within this organization, does that give you any insight into perhaps what's gone down here in the last couple of years and perhaps some areas to help improve now that you're in a new role?
Yeah, I mean, Antoine, he loved the city in Vancouver. He loved the Canucks, and he was sad to go. He had a great time in Vancouver, and I think, if there was any input that was given to me, sure, it's going to help me in any type of way. But I think there's obviously new leadership and a whole new culture that's trying to being built here in Vancouver. And hopefully everything goes in the right direction. And I just got here, so, give me some time to evaluate all those things. And obviously I'm here to help, and we'll see what all that is. But for now, my goal is just to get there and start working as soon as possible to identify those things and have an impact for sure.
Next up is Gemma Carson-Smith, Canadian Press.
Hi, Emily. Congratulations. You talked about wanting to have a human impact on this team. Can you expand a little bit about what you mean and what that looks like?
Yeah, again, I think it's a bunch of different things, and it's incremental. I think it's, culture doesn't change overnight. It's little things that you need to do in order for players to feel like they're well surrounded, for players to want to be in Vancouver, and whether it's from the minute they get drafted to, when they're in the organization, in the minors, or, just come here as free agents. I think we want to be a place where, players want to come and that they feel that, they're well treated and they have all the resources that they need to again, like I said, be the best versions of themselves. And that's what I feel that this leadership is doing. And just, hockey players are humans, it's the product that's on the ice are human beings. And that's super important. And it's important not to forget that, I think you need to put the players first, and you need to listen to them and make sure that, they have everything they need to succeed. And so that's something I'm really going to focus on. And I know that the team wants to focus on that too.
Obviously, you care a lot about the guys that you've represented over the years. What were the conversations like ahead of you taking this job and knowing that you're not going to be their number one anymore?
Yeah. Emotional. I can never thank them enough. The entire group of just, believing in me and giving me a chance to be that person for them. I mean, they were extremely hard conversations, but they were so happy for me, and they were so, supportive, and they know the type of impact that I want to have on the game. They know the changes that I want to bring, and, they were amazing and so supportive and wanted me to take this position to continue the impact and to continue the change. And but it was hard. I mean, it's hard because I've been working with these athletes for many, many years, and I'm so proud of all of them, and they have such a bright future, and some of them are already, in their prime and doing their thing. And I wish them nothing but the best, whether it's the families, the players. They mean so much to me, and they always will. That said, it was extremely hard week for me, and really tough conversations. So.
Okay, we have a couple more local questions here that we'll take care of before we move along to national media. We'll start with Karen Larson, CBC.
Hi, Emily. Your hiring is a real paradigm shift for the NHL, and so I'm curious. Like, as one of the few female agents, did you face any challenges, and do you expect those challenges to sort of continue at all in an NHL front office?
No, I mean, as an agent, I think you go through a, very organic competition in that field. Whether you're male or female, I think it's a cutthroat business at its core. So I never saw it as anything, based on gender, the competition that was within that sphere. And like I said, I've always just been really well treated, whether it's with conversations with NHL GMs or assistant GMs or, scouting staffs or, development people. Like I've always just been well accepted. I think once you get past that and you just start talking about hockey and they realize that you have the knowledge, I think knowledge is power, and they just, you kind of forget that you're the only girl in the room sometimes. And, I think it's never been really hard for me. I don't know if I just choose not to see it that way and I just choose to ignore it. But I think me not focusing on that has allowed me not to be intimidated. And, I've always had such a good reception from everybody in the sport. And, it's important for women that want to be in the sport to know that, sometimes you get intimidated, but you shouldn't. If you have the knowledge and you've done the work, there's a place for you here. And if it needs to start with me, then good. But for me, it's just always been my experience personally.
And my other question is just a real quick one. Where do you live now? And I take it you're moving to Vancouver, is that right?
Yeah, I'm in Montreal. That's where I live. But I will be coming to Vancouver in, probably the next week or so. I haven't decided that exactly. I still need to talk to the staff and see, but there's a few things I need to wrap up here in Montreal, but I'll be in Vancouver as soon as I can.
And our final local question now comes from Jeff Patterson with Rinkwide.
Hi, Emily. Congratulations on the
Thank
post. Can you just maybe walk us a little bit through the process? You talked about your vision board, but who made first contact in this exchange? Did Jim reach out to you, or when you knew that he was looking to round out his front office, did you pursue an opportunity?
Yeah, Jim reached out to me a little while ago, and we had really good conversations about everything I mentioned before about what he was looking to do, and just the leadership that he showed through those first exchanges for me really hit home. So the fact that he reached out to me and he felt like I could have an impact and make a difference in what he was trying to build meant a lot to me. And obviously it was it's always a hard decision to leave a business and a field and a career and make that change. But at the end of the day, I think it's something that I really believed in and I wanted to be a part of. And I know that all the players that I represent are left in great hands at Momentum Hockey, and we were a really great team there. And I'm not worried about them in that sense, and so that made it for an easier transition for me, obviously.
And could you have remained in the agency game long term, or was it always about trying to find a gig in a front office?
No, when I went into the agency business, it was really something that I loved doing. And I never really thought about looking past that. I'm the type of person that likes to live in the moment and do the best I can in the moment. Obviously, when Jim called and we had those conversations, my mentality shifted a little bit just because of everything that the vision that he had and the role that he felt I could play. in this. And so, it was, like I said, it was a hard decision, but, I never really set out to do this or that. It was just about the right opportunity and the right fit for me. And that's why I decided to make this decision.
Moving along to national media now, we'll start with Louis Jean, TVA Sports.
Bonjour, Louis.
Bonjour, Émilie. Félicitations.
Merci.
Vous m'avez toujours apparu comme étant une personne assez pragmatique et cartésienne. Et votre travail, évidemment, parle de lui-même. Depuis 2016, vous êtes agent de joueur. Mais de faire un saut comme celui-là, on dirait que l'ascension a été extrêmement rapide. Je vais faire appel peut-être au côté émotif un peu plus. Comment on se sent de se retrouver maintenant dans un job aussi recherché dans la Ligue nationale de hockey après ce que vous avez accompli et ce que vous laissez de côté maintenant?
Oui, je me sens privilégiée, évidemment. En même temps, c'est comme tu as dit, c'est une décision qui a été très difficile pour moi du côté humain parce que, évidemment, les gens avec qui je travaillais chez Momentum puis les joueurs avec qui je travaillais, c'est des gens qui ont une grosse place dans mon cœur puis ils vont toujours l'avoir. Mais en même temps, j'ai une opportunité de créer du changement dans le monde du hockey puis c'est vraiment important pour moi, ça aussi. Puis je pense que tous nos clients chez Momentum, puis toute mon équipe chez Momentum comprenait ça aussi. Puis ils voulaient que je prenne ce challenge-là, puis ce défi-là. Donc, ouais, c'est un bittersweet moment, comme on dit, mais en même temps, je suis vraiment excitée d'être ici, puis je suis vraiment excitée de ce nouveau défi.
Et si je peux me permettre une deuxième question, qu'est-ce que tu penses que tu vas pouvoir apporter dans ton nouveau rôle à cette organisation-là?
Comme je disais, il y a plein de choses. Je pense que mon expérience à travers les dernières années font en sorte que je peux apporter différentes choses. Pour moi, l'impact humain est très important. Je pense que, je le disais tantôt, je pense qu'une équipe va être compétitive puis va être bonne si les joueurs se sentent bien, si les joueurs se sentent bien entourés. C'est vraiment important, puis c'est quelque chose que moi, comme agente, j'ai vraiment appris à connaître les joueurs puis à savoir ce qu'ils avaient besoin pour bien se sentir puis bien être entourés. Donc, je pense que c'est un peu ce que les Canucks essaient de faire, de créer une équipe autour de leadership qui va faire en sorte que les joueurs vont avoir tout ce qu'ils ont besoin puis être bien entourés pour être le meilleur d'eux-mêmes.
Our next question comes from Kevin Dubé, Le Journal de Québec.
Salut Émilie, félicitations.
Merci.
Juste curieux de savoir, tu en as glissé un mot en anglais là, par rapport à l'histoire du Vision Board et tout ça, mais qu'est-ce qu'il y a de spécial pour toi avec la ville de Vancouver? Qu'est-ce qui fait en sorte que c'est une ville spéciale pour toi?
C'est un petit peu une question personnelle, mais ma sœur est décédée il y a presque 10 ans de façon un peu tragique. Puis une des dernières conversations qu'on avait eues dans sa vie, en fait, c'est qu'elle m'avait dit que je dirigerais un jour les Canucks de Vancouver. Donc, en fait, c'est la dernière conversation que j'ai eue avec elle dans sa vie. Donc, pour que les Canucks m'appellent, ça a été un moment assez émotionnel pour moi. Puis, c'est une des raisons pourquoi je me devais de considérer puis d'écouter Jim Rutherford avec ce qu'il avait à me dire. Puis pour la partie Vancouver, il n'y avait pas vraiment à me convaincre, mais j'ai senti que c'était un peu l'univers là, qui faisait en sorte que ça m'amenait là.
Merci.
Okay, and Kevin, if you don't have a follow-up, we'll move along to Guillaume Lefrançois.
Oui, bonjour Émilie, félicitations pour la nomination. Tu en as parlé un petit peu en anglais tantôt d'à quel point c'était difficile pour toi de quitter les joueurs, justement. À quoi ça ressemblait ces discussions-là? Puis disons, dans le cas spécifique d'Alexis Lafrenière, parce qu'on sait que c'était quand même ton client dont on parlait le plus, comment ça s'est passé puis comment il a réagi à tout ça? Comme j'ai dit en anglais, c'est sûr, c'est des moments super difficiles pour moi parce que on devient une famille, tu sais, puis
traverses tellement de moments importants avec la famille, avec le joueur depuis qu'ils sont très jeunes. Donc, pour moi, c'était un moment très difficile puis très émotionnel. Mais en même temps, tu sais, il était tellement content pour moi, puis il me supporte là-dedans, puis il voulait que je fasse ce genre de transition-là pour continuer à avoir un impact dans le monde du hockey. Puis je le sais qu'il reste en bas de main chez Momentum Hockey. Je veux dire, on faisait tout en équipe là-bas, puis on était une bonne équipe avec mon partner, mon collègue Olivier Fortier, qui, je suis toujours toute faite avec lui par rapport à Alexis. Donc, je sais que je laisse tous les joueurs de Momentum en bonne main. Donc, pour moi, ça aide beaucoup la transition, mais c'est sûr que c'est des liens qui sont assez serrés. Puis, je vais toujours avoir des bonnes relations avec les familles puis les joueurs que j'ai représentés. Puis, je ne saurais pas comment assez les remercier pour me supporter dans cette décision-là.
Parfait. Sur un autre ordre d'idée, ton nom a souvent été associé aux Canadiens là, dans les dernières semaines quand les gens parlaient de candidats, tout ça. J'aimerais juste, si tu pouvais clarifier pour nous, finalement, qu'est-ce qu'il y a eu comme approche, s'il y a eu des approches ou s'il n'y a tout simplement rien eu du tout.
Ben, en fait, non, j'ai pas eu d'entrevue avec les Canadiens de Montréal. À la base, les Canadiens avaient fait une liste de candidats à l'interne pour un poste de directeur général ou directrice générale en chef. Donc, ils ont décidé de faire une liste à l'interne avec des gens qui croyaient qu'ils pouvaient faire ce poste-là. Puis si je n'étais pas sur la liste, j'ai aucune prétention de penser que je devrais être sur cette liste-là. Donc, ils se sont arrêtés sur un choix. Puis, je leur souhaite du succès. Pas autant de succès que Vancouver, mais cela dit, moi, l'opportunité que j'ai à Vancouver, c'est vraiment celle-là que je voulais. Puis, c'est celle-là par laquelle je suis vraiment emballée. Puis, donc, c'est ça. J'ai pas pour répondre à la question, non, j'ai pas eu d'entrevue avec les Canadiens de Montréal.
Great. We have 3 more questions to take care of here. We'll go first to Guillaume Lepage, NHL.com.
Salut Émilie, félicitations. En anglais, tu as parlé de ton approche un peu non-binaire tout au long de ton parcours. Reste que tu as fait ta place comme femme dans un monde d'hommes. Quel trait de caractère ou quel trait de ta personnalité t'a permis de gravir les échelons puis d'en arriver où tu en es aujourd'hui?
Je pense que je suis une personne qui est très passionnée à la base. Je suis travaillante. Je carbure au défi. En même temps, je pense que le fait que je me suis pas laissée intimider par le fait que j'étais la seule femme parfois dans mon parcours, ça l'a fait en sorte que ça m'a pas vraiment arrêtée. Puis je me suis pas mis mes propres bâtons dans les roues. Encore là, je pense que ça prend beaucoup de traits, différents traits pour faire ce genre de travail-là, homme ou femme. Il faut que tu aies une passion, il faut que tu sois travaillant, puis il faut que tu puisses vouloir gagner. Moi, je veux gagner à la base, je suis une gagnante, donc je pense que c'est un peu de tout, mais homme ou femme, je pense que c'est la même chose.
Est-ce que tu es consciente aujourd'hui de l'impact que cette nomination-là peut avoir sur les jeunes filles ou les femmes qui travaillent dans le monde du hockey puis qui te regardent puis qui veulent gravir les échelons comme tu l'as fait?
Oui, puis j'espère que ça leur donne de l'espoir, de la motivation, puis qu'un jour, je puisse les croiser puis travailler avec eux. Puis j'ai bien hâte à ce jour-là qu'on soit plus, puis je pense qu'on a tous notre place dans le hockey, puis j'espère que ça va s'améliorer là, peu à peu, puis assez vite. Merci.
We'll go next to Arpon Basu at The Athletic.
Emily, congratulations.
Thank you.
It was interesting to hear you speak about your point of view in terms of, having a non-binary look and not considering yourself necessarily to be a woman first in hockey, but to be someone who's working in hockey.
Yeah.
It's always a tricky thing when organizations, not only in hockey, but just in the world, are looking to, I guess, diversify their workforce and bring in different perspectives. And someone who's in your position could feel like maybe they're asking me to work for them because they want to check a box, or they want to they want to get that diversity. To what extent, what do you think of that? And to what extent did you need to hear from Vancouver about your hockey qualities more so than being a woman coming into this job?
Yeah, I mean, the conversations that I've had with Vancouver, we never even talked about the fact that I was a woman. When Jim called, it was about, I think you can fill this role and I think you could be great at it. And we never even spoke about that, not once. And I just didn't feel, and I never felt, I've known Jim through different interactions in my career, but I just felt like what he wanted was quality people with quality vision and that could have a quality impact. And he thought that I was one of those people. So for me, if I would have thought that it was, like you said, to check a box or, to have a PR move, I would have felt that from a mile away. I can tell you that much. And so I never had that feeling while I was talking to Vancouver. And yeah, I guess that's part of the reason also why I made this move.
Okay, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
And with our final question, we'll go to Simone Servon at the Canadian Press.
Salut Émilie, félicitations. Première question pour toi, je veux juste que tu me parles de la relation que tu avais avec Jim Rutherford, si tu l'avais déjà côtoyé en personne ou si tu avais, évidemment tu devais avoir parlé avec lui concernant tes joueurs. Est-ce que tu as été surprise de recevoir son appel, de recevoir son offre?
Surprise, non, parce que je pense que je suis une personne qui est qualifiée pour ce genre de poste-là. Puis c'est toujours une personne que j'ai grandement respectée. Je trouve qu'il y a une approche très professionnelle, humaine, puis je veux dire, sa fiche le prouve que c'est un gagnant, puis qu'il fait les choses de la bonne façon. Donc, pour moi, c'est vraiment un honneur de travailler avec son leadership, puis avec toute l'équipe qu'on va bâtir là-bas à Vancouver. Je suis vraiment excitée, puis c'est vraiment un privilège pour moi là, de pouvoir apprendre d'une personne comme ça qui a tellement prouvé dans le hockey.
Puis, la dernière question, on dit souvent dans le monde de la politique, dans le monde de la gestion des sports, que les femmes ont une façon un peu plus posée de voir les choses plus out of the box. As-tu l'impression que c'est le début d'un changement de garde un peu dans la façon dont on approche le hockey? Puis, étant donné que c'est un monde qui est comme rempli de testostérone un peu, as-tu l'impression qu'il y a un changement de garde avec ta nomination aujourd'hui?
Je veux dire, le temps va le dire. Je pense que tous les gens amènent des opinions puis des idées différentes. C'est juste, je pense que c'est important de créer des équipes qui travaillent par comité, qui travaillent en prenant des décisions ensemble, puis en évaluant les choses qui se passent de tous les angles pour s'assurer de prendre les bonnes décisions. Puis c'est ce que je sens qu'on est en train de faire à Vancouver, puis c'est quelque chose dans lequel je veux faire partie. Donc, je vais amener mes opinions, mes idées, puis j'ai vraiment hâte de commencer.
Okay, that's all the time we have. Thanks so much to Émilie Castonguay for taking the time to be with us this afternoon, and thank you all for joining us as well. Thanks, Émilie.
Thank you. Merci.